Indeed, it is my pleasure to be here to this maiden Meet the Press session of our ministry, which in itself is also a new ministry. It must be stated that His Excellency the President recognizes the role and significance of water and sanitation and how they enhance the national development effort, and so has, in his own wisdom, set up this new ministry to give focus and attention to these two subsectors to ensure that we are able to deliver these vital services to the good people of Ghana. I must also add that whereas Ghana has made significant gains in the water subsector, hitting nearly 90% of access, our performance in the sanitation subsector has been rather low, indeed one of the lowest in the world, with only about 19% of access to improved sanitation. These findings are based on the Joint Management Program report of the World Health Organization as well as UNICEF. Given that these two areas have been referred to in many circles as Siamese twins, due to their complementary nature, it is only natural that they should be under one roof within the governance structure of our nation, and that is exactly what the President has done. Ladies and gentlemen, in this step, therefore, the intention of the President was quite clear, and so is his commitment to deliver on this front. Additionally, his political will has also been amply emphasized through various statements made in the inaugural address when he was being sworn in, as well as the State of the Nation address, and subsequently the declaration in Jamestown that Accra should be the cleanest city in Africa. All these reaffirm his desire to transform the sector's landscape in Ghana. Having demonstrated this so far, members of the media, the question that remains now to be addressed is how this vision will be realized. Ladies and gentlemen of the media, granting that these goals are laudable and must be pursued with all the energy at our disposal, it has to be noted also that the road to achieving them will not be smooth. The challenge is indeed daunting, as it is against the background of a new ministry with teething problems, such as lack of adequate capacity in many respects, and which also require a well-structured and coordinated approach to be supported by significant financial resources. On the matter of sanitation, it has been our collective desire as a nation to see our cities clean up regularly, but that seems not to be the case yet. The entire value chain of waste management has not yet been well structured, nor has the financing of those services streamlined in such a manner as to facilitate easy collection, haulage, and treatment before final disposal. There is also the matter of outstanding financial obligations that have to be paid off. Ladies and gentlemen, I would like to bring to your attention that in the immediate, what has stood in the way of the timely and efficient provision of waste management services or the collection of refuse or garbage, for that matter, was an outstanding debt of 892 million cedis, which the ministry inherited from the previous government owed to waste management companies. This debt accrued from the provision of various services such as fumigation, compensation for JIDA and sanitation guards, the provision of landfill management services, as well as debts arising out of contracts with the Ministry of Local Government and Rural Development and the Municipal, Metropolitan and District Assemblies. This huge debt needed to be settled before effective delivery of services could be carried out. The point I'm making simply is that we've all complained a bit or a lot about the waste not being collected. is heaping throughout our cities. There's been an outstanding debt that we have to settle. Until that's done, the waste collectors would argue that they needed fuel, they needed ties, they needed to pay their workers, so they were not able to collect the waste regularly the way we desired. I'm glad to announce that the government has not only successfully negotiated the settlement of these debts, but has indeed commenced payment and also made resources available for the emergency evacuation of the heaps of refuse which have piled up, especially in Accra and in our regional capitals. The Minister of Finance has released funds for the immediate evacuation of waste, and that will be carried out within the next few days. The evacuation will also bring in its wake the closure of the illegal dump sites dotted throughout the capital of Accra, and I'm sure in other regional capitals as well. Members of the media, the absence of many waste transfer stations, strategically located throughout the cities and towns, usually constructed as stopgap measures to take the waste within the neighborhoods from where it would be conveyed eventually and transported to the major transfer stations such as in Tema, near Pong, in Achimota, as final disposal sites. This is also a major contributor to the current filthy situation in Accra and has to be addressed. Again, the Ministry of Finance has also released the sum of 50 million Ghana cedis to construct 15 mini stations or mini transfer stations in addition to the evacuation for a start. Additionally, the attitudinal aspects of our lifestyle, as well as the lack of cooperation of an emerging group of players in the waste haulage business, known as baller taxis, who are helping with conveyance of waste but do not often comply with the established guidelines, has also contributed to the problem. The need to formalize, regulate, and integrate the baller taxis into the waste management business value chain, coupled with the compliance with laid down guidelines that they need to abide by, would no doubt improve the sanitation management situation, especially in the neighborhoods where the big trucks cannot get in to collect waste. In all instances, the youth have contributed their quota and are creating businesses for themselves and also earning incomes to support their families. We must support them to be more effective, but under the laws of the nation. We'll be meeting them soon to understand how best to support them in this effort. Ladies and gentlemen of the media, the above notwithstanding, I wish to make it clear that with a sector such as ours, which has not been well structured before, but is now merged with the water subsector, it is imperative that a strategic roadmap is set to guide us in our sector's operations. It is also necessary to include all stakeholders in the formulation of that plan for the sake of ownership. I'm glad to announce that the sector ministry has been able to undertake stakeholders consultations which have resulted in outcomes that are set to assist the sector operators work more effectively and efficiently. Besides applying the sector-wide approach to develop a comprehensive and integrated strategic plan with an action plan associated to it, the ministry has also been able to complete a draft policy paper for the approval of Cabinet to establish a National Sanitation Authority with a supporting sanitation fund to serve as a dedicated agency to regulate and lead the implementation of the sanitation policies of government, as well as provide reliable and regular funding to support effective service delivery. The policy also makes provision for the establishment of a dedicated enforcement team under the authority to be called National Sanitation Brigade that would ensure compliance to laid down laws and regulations. Ladies and gentlemen, an assessment of the entire value chain of waste management business services in Ghana with a view to restructuring the subsector for efficient operations has also been undertaken. These activities have all been undertaken to develop the right architecture and operational modalities for delivering the President's agenda. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, in this sector, the need to transform the attitudes of our citizenry with regards to sanitation can certainly not be overemphasized. Again, through stakeholder consultations, the total sanitation campaign strategy has been drawn up and will be launched very soon by the President. This will be spread throughout the entire country and would also penetrate the entire strata of our Ghanaian society down to the lowest level and would get everyone involved in the national drive to make our nation clean, if not the cleanest in Africa or the world. A specific plan has been designed within the campaign to support the Greater Accra metropolitan area assemblies to ensure that Accra becomes the cleanest city in Africa. I might also add that proposals have been completed on how to deal with the plastic situation in the country. Honorable Minister, distinguished ladies and gentlemen of the media, the Ministry has also secured funds and is evaluating proposals to roll out the construction of household, institutional, and market toilets to improve Ghana's rating internationally on improved sanitation, especially to reduce open defecation. Such funds would also be used to develop new sewage systems as well as reopen old ones, in addition to drilling more boreholes. The African Development Bank, the Chinese Exim Bank, as well as the World Bank are among some of the many sources of funding that are available for the sector's operations. The Greater Accra Metropolitan Area project known as GAMA, as well as GASLIP, which is the Greater Accra Sustainable Sanitation and Livelihoods Improvement Project, and the Sustainable Rural Water and Sanitation Project are among a few of the projects being pursued by the Ministry for which we've secured funding. Ladies and gentlemen of the media, may I also share with you a major aspect of the policy direction of the government in the sector's strategic plan. Considering that waste is now regarded as a resource, the processing of waste into byproducts is high on the agenda of government. The Ministry is currently in consultation with various investors to convert our waste into various value-added products such as energy, compost fertilizer, and recycled plastics and paper. This will reduce the final residue of waste to a minimum, which would not require huge landfill sites to dispose of. Honorable Minister, ladies and gentlemen, the Ministry is on course to deliver rural water as well as to complete ongoing water treatment plants and commission them. Those to be commissioned soon include Cape Coast, Wa, and Setchery. Funds have also been sourced, awaiting statutory approvals to undertake new projects to further expand access to water to the citizenry of Ghana and to deliver on water for all. The drilling of boreholes is ongoing, and more funds have been earmarked to further improve on this access of water in the rural areas to our communities. With the existence, or rather the extensive stakeholder consultations and the strategic planning having been completed, as well as the initiatives that have been crafted and have received funding, the new Ministry of Water Resources and Sanitation is poised to take off to deliver on the vision of the President, as well as to deliver on the pledges of the new patriotic party's manifesto. And also trust that you would participate actively in the launch and rollout of the total sanitation campaign to be embarked upon very soon. Thank you very much, and God bless you.